Typically, a lot of these issues that we face on page speed or lighthouse scores, they are fixable by, let's say, JavaScript or CSS optimizations. But the other part is that if you have a media-heavy application, let's say an e-commerce application or a video streaming kind of an application, where you're loading a lot of images and videos, even the media plays a really important role in helping you optimize that page over time or let's say optimizing the lighthouse scores. And that is what we're going to be looking at in this talk. That what is it that you can do with all the images and videos that you're loading on your website? How do you optimize that part of the experience, right? Now, the difference between optimizing images and videos or let's say optimizing JavaScript is, or let's say CSS, that maybe one of the common recommendations with JS and CSS is that you just strip out whatever you don't need. Now you can't do exactly the same thing with images or videos because you still need to deliver a really high quality image or a video, right? Imagine an e-commerce company, you can't just keep compressing the image, you won't be able to sell your products online, right? So it still has to look really high quality, but it has to be optimized for the web, right? So we look at different metrics that are there in the page speed report, right? So specific to images, page speed or lighthouse report does require us to serve the images in XTF formats. Efficiently import images, which means it requires us to compress the images to a level where it's acceptable both in terms of visual quality and load time, to resize the images properly, lazy load the images, which we'll cover in a bit, and preload the largest content to page. Again, we'll cover all of this in our talk. And then for videos, there are a couple of optimizations that we need to do to handle like really large videos that we will be loading and to replace GIFs with videos. Right? These are the few things that we'll be covering in this talk, and we'll look at how easy it could be if you were to use, let's say, one of the model services like anything, right? I've created a sample app, right? It's an e-commerce app, very typical. I just quickly show it to you. It's like this is a mobile view of it. A grid of product images and videos. You have some review images. You have some similar product images, right? So very typical of an e-commerce app that you would generally see. In this particular setup, what I've done is I have not optimized anything at all. Right, I just have a lot of images that are there in my S3 storage and I'm delivering them via Cloudflare. There is no optimization being done at all at this stage. And if you look at the actual size of content that's loading, so it's 4 MBs, 1 MB, close to MB, right? So these are highly unoptimized images that take a lot of time to load, right? So we'll start from there. And I measured the page speed score before this talk, so it's at 64 at this stage, right? Everything else is taken care of, it's only the media that's not optimized. We're starting at a page speed score of 64, you can see that the LCP is really high, right? The LCP element on my page would be the main product image that you see, right? And that's highly unoptimized, and that's why the LCP image is high. We're going to be using ImageKit. One, because I am from ImageKit. Second, as we go through this talk, we'll see a lot of advantages of using ImageKit over maybe we would have tried out, let's say, Next.js's inbuilt image optimizations. So ImageKit would actually help you optimize not just images but videos. Use some modern formats like AVIF, support for animated content, being able to connect to your own S3 or cloud storage. Right? So there are quite a few advantages, so we'll stick with that, right? Let's get started. What we do as the first step when we get started is that I have this media component, which is like the common component that I'm using across the app to load the images and videos. The only reason I've created a separate component altogether is so that during this demo I have just one place where I have to make this change. Otherwise, you will probably end up making this change across a lot of components and pages. So currently I'm loading all my images and videos using simple HTML5 flags, right? There's nothing special that's going on there. The thing that we need to do, and I've already done these code changes, so I'll just do them once again. We need to import the ImageKit SDK, we need to import the image and video components. We'll go to build source later, right? So we import the image and video components from ImageKit, and we just replace the video tag with the video component, the image tag, the image component. There's one more change that I do, is basically my images were loading from CloudFront. Now instead of loading by CloudFront, I just want to remove that domain so that ImageKit can add its own domain name on top, right? This could be your own domain name like media.website.com, but for now we're just removing this domain name to make it easy. Once I do this, I go back to the website, I just reload this. You can see that all the content now loads via ImageKit, right? Earlier, these domain names were from CloudFront, the images were really large in size. Now, everything is in API format, which is the latest and the most optimized image format that works on modern browsers. You can see that the image sizes have already dropped significantly, right? We are down to single digit kilobytes. And one more difference that we see is that the page now no longer loads the entire set of images that are there on the page, right? If I scroll down, you will see that there are more pages, more images that get added, right? This is basically because when you replace the standard image or video tag with the image and video components that are there, the image can be updated on top of Next.js, lazy loading automatically gets enabled, right? So by just replacing the image and video tags, we have solved for three things. We are now converting my images to the latest format. We have solved for lazy loading, and ImageKit also takes care of compressing these images for you, right? And if I talk about videos, so for example, if I click on this last one here, there is a video that loads. Even the video gets optimized automatically, right? So my original video was probably 10 MBs in size. This is now getting converted into a webcam video, 2.3 MBs in size, right? So we're taking care of video optimization as well, right? My page is still not completely optimized, right? And the reason for that is that if let's go back to that. Yeah. The reason for that is that if you look at the first image, if you look at this particular image tag, what happens under the hood is that Next.js automatically creates a responsive image tag, right? So you can see that there are multiple image URLs that are there. All of them have this transformation string added to it, but there are only two variants that are there right now, right? Which is one for a 1x device, which is like a standard screen. The other one is for a 2x device, which is for a high density retina display, right? But if my layout actually changes with the screen width, I want my images to also adapt to the screen width, not just the display density of the device, right? Now to do that, it's really simple. I just need to add the sizes attribute to my image, right? Sizes actually describes how my image looks, or how does it load, what space does it occupy in the layout on different screen widths. So here effectively I'm saying that anything less than a tablet, it's 80% of the viewport width, less than 1200 pixels, it's 50% of viewport width, everything else that is 500 pixels, right? Once I do this, you will see that my image tag changes, right? Now it's no longer just a 1x or 2x variant, there are multiple image sizes that are there. Each of the URLs have this ImageKit transformation that's added, right? So with 384, with 640, etc. So all of these are getting generated in real time. We don't have to do anything about this, right? ImageKit takes care of generating these different sizes for you in real time. Now, once I've done this, once I've made sure that my images are now also optimized for layout, I still need to ensure that this largest image that is there at the top of my screen, that loads quickly, right? Because this is still really large. And if you look at the network request and just sort it by the time it loads, and if you look at the loading sequence, you will see that my images load like really late on the page, right? It loads really late, right? Product image 1 comes after a lot of JS, etc. gets loaded. So we want to improve that. We want to tell the browser to be able to start loading this image much sooner than what it's doing right now. So we add another attribute called priority throughput, right? Now what this does is, if I go to page now, you can see that the product image 1, which is this image, now has moved much higher in the loading sequence. It automatically is also getting prefetched on the page, right? So you can see that there is this preload tag that gets inserted. This is a feature of Next.js. So the image is now getting preloaded, which helps us improve the time it takes for this largest content to load. And then the last optimization that we want to do is that you see this GIF image at the top, right? If I sort everything by size, my GIF image is still the largest on my page, which is a 526 kilobyte image. I do not want it to be this big, and even Google recommends that we should replace all GIF images with MP4 videos. So I've already written this code, and this is also an ImageKit feature that I can just append ikgif video.mp4 to a GIF URL and load that, right? So instead of loading a GIF, I'm now loading a video, right? An MP4 video over there. I've muted it, I have set it to loop and set it to autoplay so that it mimics the behavior of a GIF file. Now when I save this and I reload this again, you now see a video that gets loaded. It still looks the same, but it's a video and it's in WebM format at just 21 kilobytes. It was 563 kilobytes earlier. This is now a WebM video at 21 kilobytes, right? Now at this stage, if I were to run my Lighthouse score again, we would get to a stage where we have 94 performance. I can probably just run it once again, but since we're short on time, I'll skip to the other parts. But with all of these changes done, we have solved for basically delivering images and videos in the right format, right? So AVIF, WebM taken care of, compression is taken care of. We have converted our GIF to a video, so that's taken care of. Lazy loading is done, and your largest contentful page image, which is loading at the top, the largest image that gets taken care of, right? So if you do this simple step in any application that you're working on, the page speed score that we started off with at 3, you can definitely improve that to something that's significantly better than what you started off with, right? So that's related to the performance part, right? So now I'll add just one more bit to my talk, because nowadays every talk is going to be incomplete if I don't incorporate AI. So there are some AI-related things that I wanted to talk about, right? So right now on my the images are in plain gray background, right? There is nothing fancy with it. But let's say if you want to experiment with a different product placement, a different background for your image, right? Now, if I have to do that, it's again very simple in ImageKit, because ImageKit supports more than 50 transformations. And one of the transformations that we do support, sorry, let me just copy this. One of the transformations that we do support is a background change transformation, right? Where I can add this transformation to the image. What I'm doing is I'm just providing a prompt on a rock with snowy mountains in the background at a distance, right? I'll apply this to the main image, and I will apply this to the small thumbnail grid that was appearing below that main image. And I've just added a condition that only if it's an image should it be added, right? Once I save this, if I go back to the page, now my images look something like this, right? Let me just reload it. Okay. Yeah, there's some AI transformations that are still in progress here. You can see that some of them have started loading as well. So ImageKit actually changes the background of your product in real time. And if I were to open this image in a new tab, you can see that the only change that has happened, let me just paste it in VS Code so that it's easier to read. So the only change that has happened is that we've added this transformation, change background prompt, and after that we have just resized the image, right? If I remove this, let's say change background prompt, it's still the same white background image that we have, right? So changing backgrounds is one of the AI features that we have, or let's say if you have square product images, you want to convert them to a vertical image for your mobile device, you can use the generative fill transformation, right? So in my URL, you can see that I have a square image, which is the original image that's there. Now I want to resize it to 900 by 1600, and I want to add the image, which is what the same add resize says, and then I want to add generative fill as my background, right? Instead of it being like a plain white background, instead of it being some other solid color, I want AI to actually expand this image. And you can see the result of that is that AI actually imagines the details at the top and the bottom of the image, right? So you can see that the browsers have been extended, there is some more trees that have been added above the image. So these are some of the AI-related transformations that are also there in ImageKit, right? So by combining some of these automatic optimization features, by converting the images to the right format, or by let's say combining these AI-related features that are there in ImageKit, you can ensure that all the images and videos that are delivering on your website, they're really high performance, they look good, they help you sell those products, or they help you convert those users on your website, and you're delivering an exceptional loading experience on your website.